just been hacked. Could be worse than Snowden.
Facial recognition got a hit.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
I was doing a bit of reading ahead of Jason Bourne about what's going on in the kind of global intelligence community, and I was reading a story about a campaign by Russian agents against US diplomats. They've been doing things like stalking them around the streets or break into their houses, killing their pets. That's not very cool. But there was one instance of defecating on a carpet, and I just couldn't help wondering what Jason Bourne would do in that situation. Either A, being tasked with having to carry that out in the Treadstone days, or B, having to prevent that atrocity in the present day.
Well, Jason has a very specific skill set, and it doesn't involve defecating on carpets. You know, I can't imagine him getting that order. You know, like, your mission is to break into this person's house and go to the bathroom on their floor. I think he's got a particular skill set that doesn't involve that.
Okay, that's great.
I hope. I mean, unless we should make another one, and that should be kind of a
maybe we're sort of dancing on.
subplot.
We might be walking on eggshells about things that are in this film that we can't talk about anyway, right? As the film opens, you've gone off the grid. It's a little bit disconcerting though, because it seems like going off the grid and disappearing from society just involves punching guys in the head.
For Bourne, it does actually. But look, we came to this conclusion early on when we talked about it. At the end of the last one that we made, he swims off and he has his freedom. He escapes this identity and he goes off. And either you don't make another movie and when we say that's how it ends and he swims off into the sunset, or if you do, you have to believe that the proposition that 5 minutes after he swam away, you know, the demons came back and haunted him, and he's haunted by the things that he's done, and he's lived a life kind of on the margins for the last decade, and he's running out of road. He can't run anymore, and he's, you know, life out in the cold is too much, and so, you know, that's kind of got to be where you start with the character. There's not really anywhere to go. There's not really a story to tell. So that's how we kind of ended up with him kind of living on the fringes that way.
It's not something that Ed Snowden gets to really do in his life, is it? Like stand around in the desert punching big guys in the head. And he's a figure that looms large over Bourne in lots of ways. You know, a lot's changed since Ultimatum in the actual outside world. And I mean, he's referenced in the film, but I think it doesn't stop there, does it?
Well, no. I mean, the central question of our time really is this question of security versus privacy, and that really is at the heart of what Snowden revealed. And so. You know, that's kind of the central question of this movie.
I volunteered because of a lie.
I mean, all these movies should hopefully feel like they're kind of ripped from the headlines of the day, and they're of their time. And the ones that we did before were definitely of that time during the Bush administration and the war on terror. And, you know, thematically, we'd have, you know, the action sequences in the last one were in New York, London, and Spain, and Madrid. Like, that's not an accident. Those were the three cities directly affected by terror at the time. And, you know, you don't say it explicitly, but that's all kind of in the thematic stew of the movie. And here we start, you know, on the Macedonia-Greece border, you know, where obviously, actually where we originally intended that fight to be was the actual border that's now a refugee camp 9 months later, you know. So, but, you know, in through an austerity riot in Athens, and, you know, it should all feel like it's part of this world that we're in.
There's a demonstration in front of the Greek Parliament building. I think she'll use it as cover.
They tracked you. We gotta move.
The other Snowden shadow that looms over the film is about your character specifically. I think it's a guy who can't go home.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what do you do if you can't go home? You're probably going to have to face some serious consequences to do so, right?
Well, and that's the question. I mean, the reason the movie is called Jason Bourne is that's the identity that he tried so hard to escape. And the, you know, one of the ideas behind the movie is that he doesn't really have, without that identity, he's kind of at sea. And so will he come back and claim that identity, or will he kind of go on out in the cold where he knows there's kind of a limit to what he can handle?
I think he should go on to defecate on the carpets of the of the Brexit campaigners. I think that'd be a suitable sequel to this.
Yeah, well, those guys. I mean, oh man. Well, that's look. It's not my country, but boy, was I wasn't for that idea. I can't believe that our future lies in dividing ourselves and walling ourselves off. I have to believe just fundamentally that the future belongs to the cooperators. Yeah.
You're never gonna find any peace. Not till you admit to yourself who you really are.